Okay, so I'm making this kind of quick with this green screen bullshit so I can get to the main point. I will say who these people are, and then I will explain who they are later into my video. So this is Representative Tim Burchett. This guy is Matt Gaetz. This is Bill Cooper. Now, keep in mind, there's a reason I'm telling you all of these people's names. As you all know, this is Bob Lazar. This is David Fravor. This guy, very pretty, Ryan Graves. As you all know, the deep CIA asset that they all say he is David Grush. This man is Stanton Friedman. And again, I will explain who these people are. Let me get rid of this dumbass green screen. This man is John Lear, and that's right, as in Learjet. And this is the wonderful George Knapp, the man who has found it all. There is one name on here that I could not find a picture of, and his name was Gene Huff. I will try to find a picture for it towards the end of this video, but yeah, time to get started. This is all of the sightings from around the world. So the clusters and how much people see, which I know is hard to do. America is completely coded. And if you notice, the other area is kind of near Iran and Israel. And not a whole lot around Russia. Kind of weird, South America doesn't have as much, but it's interesting that almost all of the United States is coded with UFO sightings. And I'm getting the pictures out of the way. Sorry guys, it was a long day. I actually got all of my prep work done. I am starting to paint now. I figured I'd have been painting today, but whew. Anyway, so these are the UFO sightings around major particle accelerators that are doing deep physics or anything involving nuclear energy. I will be tying all of this in at the end. Bear with me, but I'm just trying to show you what's important, and I'm trying to show you the main things that matter when it comes to disclosure. So the first one that I showed you was technology and military, and then sightings, right? This is just the most advanced physics labs and the sightings that are near them for the most part. Now this map, this is where sightings happen all over the United States. This is what you want to follow. This is non-clustered, by the way. It means this is about as close as you're going to get to having the actual truth of what UFOs are being seen and where. Well, not what. I'm trying to find the data on what kinds, but not very many people know the difference between what they're looking at. They don't know if it's an orb, a UFO, or just some fucking light in the sky at this point. It could be a Chinese drone, who knows. Sorry I'm having to do this green screen thing, guys. My sun update and my other video that I'm going to do later, that will not be green screen, I promise. It's just been a long day, and I really do want to get this video out. I figure this is the easiest way. So, Bob Lazar. It's an Area 51, and they reverse-engineered non-human craft. Now, back in the 80s, it was describing that they had gravity propulsion, and that they used element 115 as the power source. And remember, this was before element 115 was actually created by the government. And element 115, in its state right now, it burns out in milliseconds, microseconds, whatever, and then it's radioactive afterwards. We cannot use it as a power source. He also claimed that he read briefings on aliens and what they have to do with humanity. He took his friends to observe UFOs flying in the sky during test flights before they were ever public knowledge. His story has remained consistent, and his employment and his education are disputed. Here's the thing with him. What it was is the government found out that his wife was cheating on him because they had tapped his phones. So they fired him because they felt he might be compromised. But he realized he was being followed, harassed, stalked, all kinds of dumb shit that the CIA or gang stalking would consider being fucked with. So then he leaked everything to George Knapp, who was part of news media, and that's where you got the ball rolling on slow disclosure. And by that I mean, people do think he may be a CIA asset, even if it means it's unbeknownst to him. As in, they knew he was compromised, they knew they could do this to him, and they knew they could feed him this stuff to get it out there that aliens exist, and him look fucking insane while doing it, because who's gonna believe that shit in the 80s? Think about it. It's easy to believe now when you got a million things in the sky and you got eyes everywhere all over the globe constantly running with their phones. I gotta admit, I'm stuck on this guy, simply because it's hard to figure out which way he's leaning. Is he truthful? Or is he a CIA asset that he doesn't even know he's an asset to, a slow trickle of feeding of information to lead us to where we are today in terms of aliens? Why would that be? Because the government's known all along eventually the shit would get out, and it's better to control a narrative that you can't control than to not have any control at all. Now, George Knapp. He is the journalist that broke Bob Lazar's story, and this was in 1989. He treats Lazar as a credible but unproven source, meaning he believes him for the most part. He claims to have spoken with multiple sources that in reality, their stories just wouldn't add up the way that they've added up. And he also claims to be the one guy who put Area 51 on the map in terms of the public knowledge. I'd say he is the one bridge between insider claims and the public. Now again, here's the problem with that. This is the one guy you'd want for disinformation and false narratives that entertain the masses. Now here's where it gets spicy. This is John Lear. His father was the creator of the Lear jet. I don't even have to get into it with you guys on how deep in the government his father probably was. He was best friends with Bob Lazar. He is the one who introduced Lazar to Knapp. He is the one connection to the entire story. The one guy whose father created the Lear jet, the private jet, happens to be the one guy who connected the only two people about UFOs that would have never met each other without him, and he's deeply connected to the government. He also promoted alien cover-up claims long before Lazar went public. As in, yet again, another guy that kind of looks like he could be part of a disinformation campaign. One thing he did say that I do agree with. He said that the public was being slowly conditioned to understand and learn about aliens. But don't think you're being slowly conditioned because they want to give you the truth. They want to give you the portion of the truth that keeps you so fucking deeply asleep that they don't have to worry about the actuality of it coming to light. And that, my friends, is a whole different video. Because I don't think it's just things up in space. I think they're beneath us in the oceans, and I think they're in between us. You know, like the penis in between us. He could be seen as a truth carrier or a narrative amplifier. Tim Burchett, we all know who he is. He's the guy pushing for UAP transparency briefing. He's already stated the government who he works for is definitely hiding stuff and possibly silencing people. That goes back to the 9 scientists I've already talked about. Has already said that the briefings that he got were very disturbing, that they would keep you up at night. Sorry, this is Tim Burchett. The only problem is he's not provided any direct evidence, just Now this is Matt Gaetz. He claims to have been exposed to a UAP incident near Eglin Air Force Base. Says the things that he saw were not identifiable as our technology, human technology. He also works through oversight, not really a confirmed whistleblower. So, gotta love these people still working for the government. This is Bill Cooper, and he was actually a very known guy, although he's unverified. He pushed government cover-up narrative. He claims that the government has secret alignments with aliens for their tech. Then he also later walked back his claims. So, again, these people are all tied together in one way or another in terms of disclosure. Remember that. He's also the biggest critic of Bob Lazar, but he also walked back his alien claims, so I don't know. Then you got David Grush, who testified under oath that there are aliens and that the government is hiding them. And Ryan Graves, who just stated that, UFOs are indeed real. Then there's David Fravor, another Navy pilot who claims to have seen these craft. This is Stanton Freeman. He disputes Bob Lazar's claim, but he does claim that UFOs are extraterrestrial in origin. So, if you look, UFOs are mostly clustered when you think about it around the United States. They're not random. There's a reason for that. Now, if you notice, you've got mostly them in the United States and then over by Iran and Egypt. And this does make sense once I say what I'm about to say. Remember how I told you this ties into CERN? There are 30,000 particle accelerators worldwide. That means only a few hundred of them do deep physics. Major deep physics labs are as follows: CERN in Switzerland, Fermilab, USA, SLAC, USA, DC, Germany, Keck, Japan. Now here's the funny part. As you can see, they cluster around nuclear sites, and particle accelerator activity. I don't even think I need to explain how many bases they show up over. These things don't show up everywhere. They don't show up evenly. They show up clustered and in one specific area all over the globe. So here's what we're left with. A guy who says he's worked on something not human. A journalist who says the story is worth believing. A connector who brought them together. Pilots who have seen things they can't explain. You've got sightings, not spread out, but very, very clustered. And let's not forget military sites. So either this is a huge misunderstanding, or we're being lied to.